So life's been pretty hectic the last few months. There's been a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but I can tell you guys that if you've been following my channel, because to this point, I'm not making videos to get views or subs or any of that. I'm just making it for a few hundred people who tune in every single day. I appreciate you guys, but I can inform you that I did get some good news last night, and it's about my sponsorship. So for those of you that don't know, if you're a content creator, you make money through ad revenue, affiliate marketing, sponsorship, brand deals, things like that. Memberships. I have a membership. I don't expect anyone to really buy it, which is fine. But you can't rely on ad revenue. You just can't, man. I mean, 10,000 views is $50. You're not making a living off of that. And that was a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. It's a lesson that my another fellow creator named Jordan Green had to kind of learn the hard way. So I decided that I wasn't going to move out into my own place until I had a sponsorship. I got one in December that lasted for 3 months, but then it was coming to an end, and I was thinking like, are they going to renew it? And all signs pointed to that they were not going to renew it. But I kept making my case. The last several weeks, I've been sending emails. At one night, I think I sent 25 emails, not to one person, but just to different people trying to pitch my channels and my ideas and things like that. And I even talked about setting sort of a view, kind of like guarantee, if that makes sense. So every single month, you've got to hit a certain amount of views because to this point, I don't drink, I don't go out, I go to the gym, and I make videos. That's it. No social life, no women, which isn't obviously the greatest, but all I really care about is just building up my media company, which has been a dream of mine. And finally, last night, while I was leaving the gym, and I sent an email, and then I got a text a couple of minutes after. So not an email back, a direct text to my phone, which is huge. I mean, talking through text messages obviously is a lot better than an email because you're on that per name basis and things like that. And then it was send me your top three channels, set them over, and then I don't remember how long it took after that, but basically was like, we'll be in touch, right? So now obviously there is a chance that nothing could happen, but it seems pretty high right now. And the last pitch that I made was that NFL free agency is next week, which is the best time for a company to take me on because the views are going to be through the roof. If you're trying to make money, well, you want to pick a time to where people are going to be the most tuned into YouTube. So I feel great about where I'm at. And part of me didn't believe that necessarily, let's say a month ago. I mean, of course, in the back of my mind, I did. But I mean, I think I had $50 to my name a month ago. I want to say like maybe even less because of the suspension for 3 months and then the gambling. But I remember just understanding that all that matters is what's ahead. And I'm the type of person that I do like to live in the present, but I'm not going to sit up here and lie because every move that I've made since that day was to be better the next day. And during the suspension, I monetized three new channels. So I didn't just sit home and play video games and not work and go out drinking, right? I monetized three new channels in 3 months, not even 3 months. It's ridiculous. Most people can't even do one channel focusing on that. I did three, and I also ran all my other channels. I have an Instagram with 34K, right? Got several other Instagrams. So it's like doing all of this was for the future. And then I had $50, and then now I've got I think $7,500. But I also have another payment of 1,500 coming in. I've got multiple more payments from Facebook coming in, and then my Knicks channel resumes monetizing on March 10th, which is next week. And then on April 1st, the other channels will resume. So you can see like to go from that to that is pretty remarkable. And I don't know how much the sponsorship's going to pay. As long as it is the same as my other one or more than that would be great. But basically, how I look at it is I want a sponsorship that pays rent because every single month, if you know your rent's covered from experience, I mean, it makes things a lot easier because to that point, you're worried about groceries, utilities, obviously like renter's insurance. If you have a car payment, car insurance, you want a couple $100 a month to just go out and have fun. Maybe you want to get dinner or maybe you want to go to the arcade, maybe you want to go to a bar, things like that. I mean, not everyone does that, but that's kind of something that I would recommend, especially in a city. I mean, why go to a city if you're not going to kind of go out and have fun and explore the city, right? So it was very difficult making money off of ad revenue because I had to pay. My guys, my rent was 1,600 a month, which is a two bedroom, two bath. Actually, is pretty reasonable looking back on it now, bro. This might sound crazy. I would do it again, and it's very hypocritical for me to say because it was not smart. But I loved my apartment. It felt like my home. Like it was so nice. It had a balcony, and it wasn't like one of those balconies where it's like I don't know how to explain it, but like you walk out a door and then you gotta stand on it, maybe have 2 seats. No, it was huge. It was massive. And just having cats and stuff, they really like to go out there and just watch the cars go by and things like that because they were indoor cats. So but I didn't have a sponsorship. So ad revenue, again, 10K views is $50. You like do the math on that. Like think of all the views you need to get just to pay bills. And it got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. And I brought in a roommate, and obviously, if you guys are OGs, you know how that went. It was a disaster to say the least, but that's kind of the only thing that I could do to that point, and I failed. And I'm honestly glad I did because the last month, or sorry, the last year has completely made me a better man. I was willing to admit that I failed. I was willing to admit that I needed to move back home and regroup. And if I'm being honest with you guys, from April 2025 to November of 2000 and I would say November was the first month I really started to wake up and get going. Now over the summer I did do well on Instagram, but it was like I'm talking about substantial growth was November. So April to November was pretty much nothing if I'm being real. I was making the same money as I was in Houston, wasn't getting any women, was getting drunk and stuff like that, but obviously when you're getting drunk it's like it's not really real. So it was pretty much pointless. It's just nothing was getting accomplished. I wasn't moving any closer to my goals. But then November to now has been it's been night and day. It's just been pushing myself, doing whatever it takes. And even the last month, quitting drinking. And I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again, but not anytime soon, right? The next couple of months, I will not be drinking or consuming alcohol. You know, when I move, maybe my first night in Houston, I'll buy a bottle of wine and I'm not going to drink a whole bottle, but maybe like a glass. But that's about it, right? Because I feel so clear, if that makes sense. I mean, alcohol is a diuretic; it dehydrates you. It's bad for your liver. It messes with your REM, cycles. Like, there's actually nothing good about alcohol. If I'm being honest, if you drink, that's cool, right? I'll have a couple of beers after a long day at work, but I'm talking about like liquor, like Don Julio tequila, right? How much Don Julio I've consumed from the summer to like a month ago. I mean, literally, they might as well just sponsor me at this point, right? So, and I mean, yeah, you can make the argument that it's unethical what I do with my sponsorship. But the thing is that the same people who bitch about it being unethical are the same people that will make fun of me for being broke. So it was basically take a sponsorship that is, I don't know legally what I can say, but basically like take a sponsorship that people would disapprove of versus just being broke. Like it's not even like, come on. Now, obviously, what am I thinking of? Oh yeah, the show You. If you guys don't know the show, so his wife's dad and actually her too, were basically like responsible for giving a bunch of children cancer, something along those lines. Like it's not to that extreme, obviously, but yeah, I think it does more harm than it does good. But at the same time, here, man, I mean, again, whatever it takes to be able to make videos for a living and not have to work a 9 to 5 and work for someone. That's what I had to do. That's what I'm going to continue to do. And I've built the trust of the company because even the first, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the first month and a half of my 3 month sponsorship was very difficult for me because it was my first sponsorship and it was a lot of work and I was behind other people. I'm competing with creators of hundred thousands of subscribers, getting millions of views a month. And it was tough. But I remember them telling me that they knew the views were down, but they knew that I was working basically harder than anyone else in the company, right? That they were endorsing, right, promoting. So, and that really just uplifted me because it's basically all about the money. It's like when you're talking to companies, it's like how can you make them money? You're not on usually like a personal basis, things like that. And but just to have them say that definitely meant a lot because it's just been up from there, and it's to the point now where I really feel the best that I have in years. I mean, like like if you go back to 2023, like the end of 2022, start of 2023, like I was making a lot of money, but it wasn't, how do I put this into words? It wasn't, there wasn't any longevity behind it. It was all short term. And that's why ultimately I had to rely on my savings because if you're making $1,500 in a month, well, if the rent's 1,600 and then bills and groceries and food and things like that, you can see that, I mean, it's just it's not gonna last. And yeah, there were some months where I made, 440, 500, things like that. But ultimately it was just spending money on alcohol, spending money on and I bought an Airbnb for like $1,000 one night, or for I think it was for 3 nights or 2 nights, I don't remember, which isn't bad if you're splitting it, but I didn't charge anyone, right? I had literally like 7 girls over and they just stayed with me. I didn't charge any of them and it was fun, but it was like I wasn't responsible. So moving forward, and this is something I've talked about with my friend, who I'm not gonna say his name. And I don't know. I have to ask him if he cares if I say his name. If he doesn't care, then I will. But potential roommate, all signs are pointing to that. Yeah, I will be rooming with him. I don't know yet definitively, but and I know I've mentioned this the last couple of videos. The word cynical. I mean, I don't trust people as much as I used to, and I just kind of expect the worst because people want to get as much as they can out of you, and it's specifically women. I'm not saying men are like angels or anything, but it's more so women will kind of entertain you and have you like take them out and stuff like that. And then it's like they don't really like you, but it's like they just want to get things out of you. And then with guys, it's more so of there's a lot of men who they like, I don't know how to best put this into words, but basically like a lot of people I've been around were kind of lost in life. And then it was like we would hang out and it would help them escape, but it wasn't really like a genuine, authentic relationship, if that makes sense. So that's that was my relationships, man. And then sometimes it's like you're drinking, you're consuming alcohol, which makes things elevate even more, like escalate even more. And then things come out, and maybe they didn't mean to say it, but they said it, and it just became a nightmare. It was, some of them I'm sure are listening, but like low value people, I'm not saying I'm better than them, but even at my lowest times, I've always been there for my friends. But like, you can't have low life people, and when I say low life, I'm not talking about the people I still am in touch with. I mean like people that I don't talk to anymore that I used to hang out with. It's like low life people, alcohol, the worst possible combination. And thankfully I was able to experience and go through those things because I don't think being cynical is a bad thing necessarily, because if you're not cynical, then that's when you lose your company, or that's when you have a girl cheat on you with your best friend or things like that. Like people think that's crazy, but that happens every single day. Like it does, man. And then it's been going on for months, man, maybe even years. So it's just there's people out there that are just looking out for their best interest. And I'm not, again, like I'm not claiming to be a saint or anything. Like I was unfaithful in my one and only relationship, which was right before I moved out of Houston. But and again, I'm not justifying it, but at the very least, I did say what I did. And then even though she wanted to stay with me, I mean, I refused. I was like, that's not really fair to you. And I told her like literally immediately after it happened. So that's the thing, is people will just like, I could have not said anything and just kept seeing other girls, but it's like would make me a coward, right? So, and that literally goes hand in hand with what I just said. It's like you have to understand that most people are looking out for themselves, and that's really all they care about. Like I was being selfish in that moment, And that's the only regret I have in my life. Like, I've done a lot of stupid shit. I've gambled away thousands of dollars in a single night. I really could care less that I did that to this point, because but it's like cheating is like it's literally like when I grew up and I was like, I'm not gonna drink, I'm not gonna do drugs. And then I grew up and I did drugs and I drank alcohol. It's like I would never cheat. And then I got in my first relationship and I cheated. So it's like that's the type of things that to me, it just feels wrong. I mean, it's not the moral thing to do, and I know that I was raised better than that. So, but all this stuff again makes me better. It made me understand that you can't jump into a relationship if you're not ready to be in a relationship. And it was nice having one girl always around and talking to me and things like that that looked good, right? And that was in shape and stuff like that. But at the same time, I was completely lost. And my it's not like she didn't know that. Like, she knew that I didn't have a lot of money and she knew that where I was at in my life, but she was essentially with me for my potential. And when we were together some nights, like, she'd see me doing what I'm doing now. I mean, this is nothing. It's like, not to say this is nothing. Like, I don't want you guys to think I'm wasting your time, but there's a difference between me making a swag out video and me making a Knicks video, right? Obviously, like, you have to be a little bit more amped up, right? Because I'm talking about the Knicks. I'm like, all right, so we've got Jalen Brunson on the right side of the court. You can see they're going to go ahead and ice this pick and roll, push him towards the right sideline. And then the Knicks do a good job, of course, of coordinating this and having guys in the right spot to make it easy on Brunson to get the ball back to the middle of the floor. So it's like things like obviously, like, I have to be different. But for Swag Y'all, people have grown accustomed to who this is who I actually am. But it's like I have to amp up things. So I'm talking about sports. I can't just be like monotone. Like, people don't really like that. But I'm not saying I'm a different person, but typically before I make videos, I have coffee and it's like I have more energy and caffeine because bro, I do a lot for work. I'm working 7 days a week nonstop. So it's like, and I go to the gym now too. So it's not easy, but for Swag Yo, I just like to be laid back and just my natural environment. I feel calm right now, cool, calm, and collected. So, but yeah, she saw me make videos, and I don't think I think it just completely blew her mind. I remember on my birthday, the Knicks were on and watching that with her, and she had never even seen basketball. So she was a great girl, and I highly doubt she keeps up with me. But I always like to tell myself that I got what I deserved. I lost everything. I lost my relationship, my friendships, because I left Houston, which meant that all the girls that I had and all the women that I had just and followed me because I wasn't in Houston anymore, right? It's like they're gonna move on quick. So, but yeah, the business collapsed, and it was at that point in time where I started to ramp up my Instagram, which went from about 20,000 from from April when I moved out of last year to May. I went from about 20K to 34K. How many followers do I have? Yeah, 34,200. So I've built a media company that I'm proud of. I've built up my channels. I've become a much better man. I don't think I'm perfect by any means. I think there's growth that needs to happen, and I'm still working towards it every single day. But I just know that I can look myself in the mirror. Like, I have the camera pulled up right now. I'm looking at myself just like I'm seeing what you guys are seeing, recording, StreamYard logo. But it's the first time in a while where I've been able to look at myself in the mirror and just appreciate who I am, because there's been a lot of dark times. I had to kick out I had to kick out two of my roommates. I got in fights with them, and you guys probably don't think I have it in me to yell and to raise my voice, but I mean that was a night that I had to. Someone crossed the line, and I don't obviously appreciate that, man. I mean, and you cross the line as someone as a man, right? Things like that. So, and of course, it typically always is about a woman who's just look at where she's at now. It's like all the people that I cared about. It's like you look at where they're at now, and you're like, why was I ever tripping about them, man? So, but yeah, the next couple of months, I'm gonna continue to grind my ass off with the sponsorship, with the views, things like that, bonuses. And I'll tell you guys how much money I have saved up when I go to Houston. And I will document my finances. I'll document my relationships, my physical health, my mental health, my relationship with God, my relationship with my friends, with my family. All that will be documented. And yeah, I used to make videos every single day about women, and it got views and it made money and it was cool, but my purpose is not to do that. My purpose is to document my journey as a full-time content creator. And I know people can't really relate to that. Me, being a content creator, moving halfway across the country, no friends or family, right? But it's like the few hundred people that do that, that's what makes me excited. I don't care about the money. I have a membership, yeah, but I don't need you guys to buy my membership. I need you to watch my videos and hopefully it resonates with you, man. Even if a couple hundred people resonate with this video, then that's awesome to me, man. That's worth more than any money that could ever be given to me. So, but yeah, we're about to wrap this up. I am going to go ahead and have a cup of coffee. The reason I did not have coffee before this video is because I like it again, to reiterate my previous point, I like my videos being like this, man. But the next thing that I have ahead of this, I do need a little bit of caffeine. And I'm new to caffeine. Like the last couple of months I've gotten into caffeine. Prior to that, like I hated it, like messed around with black coffee, things like that. But yeah, I mean I do because I'm competing with a lot of people in media, right? But for this, I'm not competing with anyone because it's about me, right? I'm competing with myself. That doesn't make sense. So, I mean, it does and it doesn't. I mean, of course, you compete with yourself every single day. But yeah, the last 3 weeks, I haven't had the urge to go out drinking. I haven't had the urge to have any alcohol. I have a bottle of Don Julio in the fridge out there, my family's garage. There's a 12 pack of beer, right? So my favorite beer, Michelob Ultra, girl beer. I know, make fun of me, kill me, but I know that I have potential to do big things in life. And that's what pushes me to wake up every single day and to get to work. The last couple of days have been difficult, man, because I've just exerted so much energy. Last night after the gym, I had to come back and watch a Rockets game that went to overtime and then break down the film during the commercials and halftime and things like that. So it was exhausting. But that's the thing, man, is the more successful you are in life, the more money you make, the more stress you're gonna have, the more responsibilities you're gonna have. Like Jeff Bezos, you think he's just on his yacht with a bunch of hot women just partying? Like, no, not exactly, right? He is on his computer on the yacht. Do you think like there's not a lot of guys who are going to nightclubs and partying all the time? I mean, of course they go to sections and stuff like that, but it's like people who are actually really getting after it aren't at the club every single weekend. And that's something that resonated with me. So shout out to FitX Fearless, Bismarck. Well, no, obviously he's not going to ever see this, but he said something about how people who are really getting after it aren't out drinking and partying at the club. It's like, no, they're working. And it always was difficult for me to do that, but since I've done it now for 3 weeks, like I've grown to appreciate it because everyone's out having fun and stuff, and it's like I'm getting a step ahead. And that's what's made me have the best Red Sox page in the world. That's what's made me have. I'm not the best Knicks page in the world. That's Knicks Fan TV. That's the GOAT right there, but no one's catching him. I mean, that's literally Michael Jordan and Knicks, but like outside of him, I think I'm the best and my analytics back it up and things like that. But everything I do, I want to be the best. And I learned that from Kobe Bryant before he passed away. I was a big Kobe fan even before he died. And I every single night, man, I would listen to Kobe speeches and motivation. And I'm not a big fan of motivation. I think discipline is far more valuable, especially to a young man. But motivation can take you a long way. Motivation, you have to start with motivation, right? It's like, I want to eat healthy. I want to go to the gym. I want to stop gambling. Motivation kicks in, but it's like, okay, you did it for a day. Can you do it for a week? Can you do it for a month? Can you do it for a year? Can you do it for 10 years? That's up for you to decide. But everyone has potential watching this video to this point. Everyone is capable of doing something big in life, but it's just a matter of how long can they sustain it for. And for me, I want to do it the rest of my life, man. And everything that happened to me, all the friends who abandoned me, all of the women who did me dirty and cheated and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I've been screwed over too. Doesn't make it any more right than what I did, but yeah, I've been screwed over by many women in my life. So, but all of that made me who I am today. It meshed me out to be my best self. And Batman, I mean, Batman Begins. What happens? His parents get shot in cold blood by a robber, and then the woman he wants to marry and is in love with is ends up wanting to marry. I'm not gonna spoil the movie, but I don't know. Probably not a good example. I don't want to spoil the movie, but basically, let's just say that she didn't pick him, right? So I'm not saying that I'm Batman because not exactly the case. My parents are alive and healthy, right? And but yeah, I mean, it's just that movie inspired me. And it just goes to show that if you think you're in a bad spot, you're depressed, there's people out there who are sleeping on the street without a blanket. There's people out there who lost their parents, and then when they grew up, the woman that they wanted to marry didn't reciprocate it, right? So it's like there's people out there doing worse than you. So just tell yourself every single day when you're crying like a little baby about a girl who didn't text you back is like you have a roof over your head. You're in college, right? Your family is supporting you. They love you. They care about you. And if they do, then you can't really fail. And that was also the thing that kind of woke me up was because I was like, even if I fail, like my family and my friends are still gonna be there for me. They're still gonna care. And then I was like, all right, well, because of that, I'm not going to fail. So but yeah, this is probably my favorite video I think I've ever made on Swag Yell. And it's only gonna you're only gonna be able to understand that if you followed me for years. I know very few people have, but just where I was to now, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it got to the point where it was like I didn't even try anymore, just giving up. Over the summer, literally almost gave up and stuff like that on life, but I was like just thought of one reason to keep going, and it was the media company. And to see where it's grown, to see the MLB legends following my page that I grew up watching and as a kid, to see the players messaging me and their families and friends, like it's just crazy, like how this all kind of came into fruition. But and that's why I laugh when people in the comments all the time are like, "Oh, this guy's lazy. He doesn't want to work." It's like, it's like, all right, bro. See, behind the scenes, you guys didn't know what was going on, but look who's getting the last laugh, man. And the haters wouldn't watch deep into this video. The haters wouldn't even click on this video. But the people who did click on this just know I'm doing well and I'm gonna continue to keep fighting. Because right now, yeah, it's good, but doesn't mean in a month it will be good. Doesn't mean in a year it will be good. Every single day, that's where discipline kicks in. So, but peace, guys. I'm out. Swag Yell.